Okay, so my organism was Cliona celata. The species name is C. celata. The scientific name is Cliona celata. Its common name is the boring sponge. And for the taxonomy, it's under the Eukarya domain. It's in the Animalia kingdom. Its phylum is Porifera. Its class is Demospongiae. Um, its subclass is Tetractinomorphia. Its order is Hadromerida. Its family is Cleonade, and its genus is Cleona, and its species is C. celata. For the kingdom tree, because the boring sponge lies under the Animalia kingdom, it's gonna um, possess all of these um, characteristics. So we start with the cell membrane, which is first seen in the archaebacteria because it's more ancient, um, and along with the eubacteria. And these two are set apart because the eubacteria has the peptidoglycan, and then we have the nuclease, which is seen in Protista, and then plantae and fungi are multicellular, and they are set apart because plantae has cellulose and fungi has chitin. And then we're left with Animalia, which is a mouth eater. For the phylum tree, the boring sponge lies under the Porifera phylum, so um, it's gonna be more ancient than the rest of the phylum. So here we have the ancestral protist, um, and then shortly after that is the Porifera, and after that there's the true tissues, which contains Cnidaria, um, which also has radial symmetry, and then bilateral symmetry, which consists of platyhelminths and nematoda. And those are set apart by nematoda, which contains no body cavity, and platyhelminths, which contains pseudocolon, which is a type of body cavity. And then there's colon, which is another type of body cavity, and that contains the mollusca, annelida, and arthropoda. And the annelida and arthropoda are set apart by segmentation. And then after that, there's deuterosomes, which um, consists of echinodermata, echinodermata, and then vertebrae, which contains chordata. And for interesting adaptations, reproduction, boring sponges reproduce both asexually and sexually. Asexually by whenever a part of the boring sponge breaks off, it'll float off into the ocean and produce a new sponge. And uh, sexual sexual reproduction occurs when eggs within the sponge are fertilized, and this will allow free swimming larvae to settle at the bottom of the ocean onto a hard surface. And for digestive, the boring sponge is a filter feeder, so it will circulate water throughout its entire body and filter out all of the plankton or other uh, organisms that it uses to eat. For homeostasis, uh, boring sponges maintain homeostasis through diffusion, and so basically, the boring sponge's structure will allow it to circulate or absorb water from the ocean and circulate throughout its body so that it can match the environment of its body with the rest of the ocean. And so the water will flow through the sponge's inner layers, filtering bacteria for food and other organisms that it uses to eat. For global distribution, the boring sponge is found. worldwide. However, it's mostly seen in southern New England, the Narragansett Bay, the Bahamas, and the western Atlantic Ocean. For habitats and niches, the yellow boring sponge is usually found underwater in oyster reefs or other mollusks. And so basically, the way it finds its um, home, it will attach to a hard surface, usually a live animal with with a shell, so like mollusk, oysters, things like that, and it will uh, dig or bore holes into the animal, which will kill it. And so the boring sponge will then use the shell as shelter and protection, um, and it will live off the shell. So for the food web, uh, it starts with zooplankton, which is eaten by plankton, and so the plankton is eaten by the boring sponge, jellyfish, the sea cucumber, crustaceans, and small fish. And then we have the boring sponge, which is eaten by the sea turtle, and the sea turtle also eats jellyfish and small fish. Algae, which is eaten by crustaceans and small fish. And then there's the large fish, which will eat the small fish. Um, and then the sea turtle is eaten by sharks and killer whales. And the killer whale will also eat large fish, and sharks will eat the sea turtle and large fish. For fossils, uh, boring sponges are known as the most primitive multicellular animals with fossils. And so, boring sponge fossils can be found in two forms. One of them is from the shells that it bores holes into. Scientists will Scientists who like dig up the shells will notice that it has holes inside of it, which is evidence of the boring sponge um, having lived inside of the shell. And the other way is of this finding the sponge itself as a fossil. For fossil record, sponges have been recorded as one of the earliest animal fossils, dating back to the Vendian period, which is around 650 to 543 million years ago. But boring sponges are found to have been, um, they can be placed back to as much as 500 million years ago. And its fossils can be found worldwide, uh, wherever the boring sponges inhabit. And that's it.